exist. I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time's gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, hi, this is 1100 I'm LaVern, and this is One Street Over.
I took a walk one street over from my home, cracked and broken.
We have got Mayor Billy Vogel in the house, and he sends me a text super late last night, and it's like, are we on tomorrow? I'm like, yes. You obviously don't listen to my show because I've been saying that. But anyway, are you okay? You gotta sneeze. You gotta step away and sneeze.
Allergies.
But
Allergies,
oh man, those allergies are kicking us. But here, I'll give you
Well, I started.
the broadcaster's secrets, cough drops.
Yeah, I started
You should eat 'em.
eating honey. You know, because everybody says it's good.
Local.
Yeah, good for allergies, and
Yeah.
which I just done it on Sunday mornings. 'Cause that's the only time I eat breakfast at the house.
Yeah, well, you got to do it every day,
Yeah, well,
spoonful. But and I don't do that either. I want to keep bees. Don't you want to? I want to have
my
beehives.
granddaddy had bees,
I want bees,
and
I don't have time. I
Well,
don't have any time to do anything.
I remember as a little boy, he would climb up in the tree with the box.
Yeah.
He'd take his knife and tap on the back of it. Well, that noise would aggravate them, and they would go in the hole down there because of that noise. And once he had the queen,
Yeah.
he had them, and he wouldn't get stung once or twice.
Well, and I don't mind getting stung either. They don't bother me. It's so funny. We had, we'll have wasp or bees or something at the school. I don't know, last year going into the door where I come into the school at Greenbrier, we had a nest of wasp. And I mean, you would have thought, because I mean, some kids are allergic to them. And I
Yeah.
mean, it was like, emergency. And I was like, man, just give me something to kill them. Give me a shoe.
Well,
I'll swat them. But anyway,
you know,
it's funny.
honeybees is big business now.
Oh, I know. It's
People
cool.
that raise watermelons and stuff, they will go rent them
Yeah.
during pollination.
Yeah.
And these people will bring them out there and set them up. And then when you get done, they'll come get their bees. But I was reading water meters one day, and I was managing the plant. And I opened up a meter, and there was a swarm of bees down in that meter. Well, everybody told me, said, just go get some gas and kill them. And no, I didn't want to kill them.
No,
So
you
I
need to
called a
bring
guy
'em.
that did bees, and he went and got them. You know how he got them? He carried a shop vac and just sucked them in that hose into that vac. That's how he got them.
How funny. Barry Richards, we'll talk about him in a minute because him and Rebecca, of course, are one of our longtime, full-time sponsors. But Barry, you know, his whole family kept bees for years. And he finally got so busy with real estate. I mean, he is the broker now in Springfield. But he got so busy with real estate that he finally, I think, has given up his bees. But he's always told me, whenever I'm ready, he will kind of help me get set up. And I don't know that I'll do it this year, but maybe. I think you kind of start that stuff in the, like, right about now. So if I were ready, right now is when I need to be getting my bees established and getting the hive going and stuff. So maybe by this time next year, because I really, really, really want to keep bees. I think that would be fascinating. And I've got a good spot for it, but I want to do the things where you plant the certain types of plants to cause it to flavor the honey. I had some, I've talked about my Egyptian friends. I've got a lot of Egyptian friends where I taught them English for a couple of years. I taught English to a lot of Egyptian people, but so I had, they're so sweet to me, and they'll go home and they're like, what can we bring you? And one time, one of them brought me some honey from Egypt.
Is it good?
Yeah. It had this unique, like if you've ever had baklava or anything that's got a Mediterranean kind of taste to it, it had a unique flavor to it that reminded me of that. It was just the coolest thing ever. But yeah, it was, and I like to get honey when I'm down in Mexico, and I'll get, cause it's got a different flavor to it because it's pollinated from the plants that are around that area. So when I go to Mexico every year, I'm always grabbing some honey. But it's cool. And vanilla, got to get the Mexican vanilla because there's something about it. It's stronger. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, everybody. It's everybody that goes on our mission trips. Like, did you get any vanilla? Because I'm almost out, so I got to go get. I wonder if our little Mexican store up here, if they have any Mexican vanilla, because it's more pure. It's stronger. I need to go see them. That's a fun store. If you ever want to have fun, just go in there and look around. It's like going into Mexico. It's cool. Have you been in there?
No,
you should go in. It's cool.
No,
it is cool. I mean, it's a cool little store. You know which one I'm talking about?
The one on the corner?
Yeah, the one right there at Fifth Avenue and 41. Right there where what used to be there? It was like a flooring store, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's right there at Fifth and Highway 41, right there on the corner. You ought to go in there one day. I'll go in with you.
Okay.
We'll go and visit, and I'll introduce them to their mayor. So it's a cool store. It's a cool store. But anyway, go see them sometime. Anyway, Mayor Vogel's in the house. What you doing?
Well, last night was supposed to have been a short meeting, but it didn't work out that way.
Uh-huh.
But I noticed this morning coming in, I got behind a school bus, and I cannot believe the safety features on a school bus. I mean, it's a great thing, but I hadn't been behind one. This must be a brand new one. It had two flashing lights on top, all the stripes, and then when the signs come out on the side, them stop signs, there's two of them now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the board, but on the back, it had stop. When the bus was picking up some kids, it was going stop, stop, stop. And then this light started flashing and said, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before.
Well, you have to, because my husband, he was the safety coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, he still has his license, but he's teaching, so he's super busy right now. But he was the safety coordinator for the buses for a year and a half before he started teaching over at Springfield. So they had video of people running it, and even taking out a sign. And you can't, and the way you can't prosecute them because maybe their windows are tinted and you can't prove who's behind the wheel. So dangerous. The person, Ilya Maldonado, okay? He is the president of Ebenezer Broadcast, and we were talking one day about bus safety and how you do not pass these buses. Don't you dare. And his little sister, was killed by somebody running a stop sign of a bus.
Yeah,
when they were young.
The law
is just unbelievable.
You probably know this much since he's in safety. If there's a grass media between the lanes, you don't have to stop.
Right.
But if there's not, regardless, if it's a 4-lane, you're supposed to stop.
Highway 41, you got to stop.
Yeah.
If they're headed toward Greenbrier and you're headed toward Springfield and they're stopping, you better stop, because that is the law, guys. And just the knuckleheads that will go around a bus on a rural road. I just want to slap them. Don't get me started, man.
Yeah, don't get her
started.
Well,
in my traffic days, guys, I did traffic for 28 years.
I used to hear
for Nashville. And the horror stories that I heard on the roadways, unbelievable, the stupidity of some drivers. And that ends up hurting innocent people. And these kiddos on these buses, man, that's our most precious treasure we've got. That's our future, guys. You got to be careful around them. So I'll get off my soapbox now. Behave yourself on the roadways. Watch out for the buses.
Be good.
Mr. Heinerman's going.
Be gentle.
Yeah.
Be gentle.
Mr. Heinerman listens
civil,
a lot. He'll
civil.
be cheering.
Yeah,
but
be
anyway.
civil.
All right, now the commissioners' meeting was a week late.
Week late for the holiday.
Because of the President's Day. Now we're back on schedule now because you do it for Martin Luther King Jr. Day and you do it for President's Day. So from now on, it is the third, right?
Third Monday night.
Third Monday night. And that will be moving forward for the rest of the year, and then they'll have that change in the schedule first of next year. But
and I think Springfield's is what the third Tuesday night.
Yeah, they're right after you.
Right after us.
Typically, I have you in, and then I have Ryan in. Then the very next day, and he was in last week because the mayor and alderman meeting is not affected by President's Day or Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Yeah. So they go ahead and meet on that third Tuesday, and then he comes in on that. They put us
on the spot sometimes. If we're funding something that the city is funding and the county's funding together, they'll vote for it a week for us for 2 months, and then they puts us on the spot. Well, they'll say yes, we'll do this if the county does it. Oh. Well, that puts us on the spot with all the people in those,
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, well, y'all got to because we did.
We did. Yeah.
That's funny. But politics.
We're good about funding stuff in cities, but when you fund one city, when you got 10, sometimes some of them say, hey, what about us? So.
God bless you. I swear, that's one thing I never really thought about until I got to know you, how that you are the county mayor, and then you have all these little city mayors.
Yeah.
Because did you hear 10 cities in this county and all these little burbs that you have to deal with? And, oh, my goodness, I've dealt a little bit with some of the little cities and stuff and their little pet projects and their little things. And I'm like, what? It's like, okay, but anyway, and we could go down the list.
It's kind of like herding cats. And when I talk to all these cities, I have a meeting quarterly with all the mayors that we try to talk about projects, get on the same page about things. And last night it came up about our county growth plan, and everybody knows we need to have a growth plan. You need to be planning for growth. But when you got 10 cities and we did our growth plan, I think 4 of them did not sign off on our growth plan. They didn't like what the projection was for growth. And if all 10 cities don't sign off on it, LaVern, the state will not accept it.
Well, see, and here's the thing, guys. You got to have a plan because it's happening whether you like it or not. People feel like they can stomp their feet and it won't happen. It's going to happen without a plan. Then it's going to be a mess.
Some of your smaller cities, they're not planning on growing. Mm-hmm. They're happy with their field, and the neighbors don't want no more houses in the city. And these cities do not sell utilities. Mm-hmm. So, they're happy where they're at. Where Springfield, White House, Greenbrier, and cities like that, a lot of their income is based on utilities. Mm-hmm. So they want growth. So,
and if we don't, it's just my husband and I were talking about Nashville this morning, and I got to Nashville in 1983, started doing traffic in 1984, quit doing traffic in 2012, and I don't want nothing to do with Nashville anymore. If I have to go through Nashville, I can't hardly stand it because it is just gotten, and they're not doing anything. We were talking about the fantasy of 840 going all the way around the city, and I'm like, ain't gonna happen. And my husband just cannot, because he's from up north, and he's like, why in the world do they not have a bypass in Nashville? I say, that's a good question. It's been the question ever since I started doing traffic a long time ago. And when you have poor planning, you have things like Nashville where traffic is a nightmare. I don't care when you go through there. Traffic is horrible. And we've got a plan. We've got to have a plan or we're going to have a hot mess here. Because, you think about 41 with more people piling in.
When I was a county commissioner, before I became county commissioner in 98, they was talking about the 880 coming around through Robinson County.
840, you mean?
840, yeah. And 880 is south of some.
Right.
840 got a lot of opposition from the small cities.
Well, because it's going to take property.
Right, it's going to take property. Also, the big cities that they did not want a bypass where people wouldn't be coming through town. That's how they made their living.
Business, yeah.
Yeah, that's how they made their living, and it just didn't happen. And at that time, when they was talking about it, they already had the route drawn up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember.
Yeah, and I was told that it would take probably a 12-cent fuel increase on taxes
Mm-hmm.
to buy it and put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got, I'm in our farm up in Kentucky. Part of it got, when they expand, if you know the 45 highway that runs from Paducah to Mayfield, right in there, we live on the 45 highway. And when they put in the new 45, and this is back when I was in high school, they, took part of the farmland that my parents farmed. But, and so I understand because you're like, and they took some people's homes, to do that. And that is a hard thing. You think about the flooding that happened when they put in the dams and all go watch, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? There you go. There's a good, kind of a illustrative
my family come
story
out of
about
Eddyville, Kentucky. They flooded all that for Lake Barkley, moved the family cemetery and everything. And a lot of people in Cedar Hill.
It's hard.
They came out of the camp when all that got bought up, and it's just a sort of. When I was a kid,
it's difficult.
440 over at Nashville. I lived in a neighborhood over Nashville, and it came. Well, first we had segregation where they cut the road in half, and this half went to this school, and this half went to this school, and then 440 come through, and they took out the whole neighborhood.
Yep.
That's how I ended up in Robinson County. My grandparents lived down here.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it took the whole neighborhood out.
Well, I remember 440. I mean, I remember all these things, and it's just it is just part of. We're growing, and where are you going to put people? And it is just part of it. It is a hard thing.
Well, it's a piece of cheese.
We've been through it, huh?
It's a piece of cheese, and we're the rats. Yeah, let me just say that I think if they could figure out a way to get the truckers from going through Nashville,
I know,
we could solve it.
Yeah.
And everybody is against tote roads, and I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, I don't either. I was down in Texas, for a couple of years. Working and commuting back and forth, and it was wonderrul.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for a toll road, I couldn't have came home every night when I worked for the railroad.
Yeah.
There was one up there at the Pennyrow above Hoptown.
Yes.
And I had to stop twice and throw in 90 cents one way and 90 cents the other way. Yeah. And now those toll booths are gone. That road is paid for.
Well, and one thing too, down in Texas, we had a thing where you would put it on your car and you would it was an easy pass is what they had. And that's how you went through the toll road. But I got around so much easier when I was working down there, just because of that. Because I mean, you get stuck in that traffic, good land. It was, I'm all in favor of it as well, but I don't know. I don't have I don't have a crystal ball to tell you what they're going to do, but they're going to do something in Nashville. People don't realize, from a traffic perspective, when I was working in Nashville, if something happened on the downtown loop, now the downtown loop, the downtown loop is where 2465, they all come together in what we used to call 265, and actually, do we still call it, we call it 265? No, it's 65, because we had the North Loop. We have the North Loop, the South Loop, and it's been so many years, I forget all the jargon. But that downtown loop, if you have something that happens on 24 at Ellington Parkway, it locks up the whole downtown loop.
Right.
Everything comes into Nashville. You look at a map and see how centrally located we are and how all those interstates come together. I remember one time it was in the middle of like one of the CMA things. It was like the country festival that they have going on, fanfare they called it at the time, I think. And they had done a repair on, I want to say it was like 40 around it was probably right there around 2nd Avenue. And they had concrete that didn't set up, shut the road down. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. And I mean, that traffic was backed up forever. And we finally told people, if you have not gotten on the road, stay home. Take a sick day. It was awful.
We're 65 and 24 joins right there coming in Nashville out of Robinson County. I tell people that it's planned. They do not want you doing 70 mile an hour and blending in to I-65 off 24. They want you coming in and stopped and doing 15 and 20 mile an hour. That's part of the plan. So I tell them, the more we back up on 24, that's part of their plan. It's not like they don't want you coming in there at 70 mile an hour and trying to blend.
Yeah.
And it would be a figure 8 disaster.
Oh, it is a mess.
Yeah.
And we've got a few messages here. Pam Head says the head girls say, "Good morning, Mayor." So,
yeah. They come see me.
Absolutely. And good morning from my father's house. Charlene is saying hi. Jerry is Jerry Sothergill. Hello, good morning, brother. And Paul Rainey's always on there. Thank you, thank you. You know, everybody's like, who is this Rainey guy? He's on there every morning. If he's not on there, I'm worried about him, man. But anyway, he's a good one. He and his wife Mary go to Mexico with me from the mission trip and have served up. We go to church together. We're church family. And he was a 41-year firefighter in Nashville.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a lot. But anyway, he knows what I'm talking about with traffic and all of that kind of stuff. But we're kind of killing time because there wasn't a lot happening.
Yep. But we better get to it.
We better get to it. I know. We just chit-chat.
But hey,
we
I
like
think us
to talk.
talking about T-Dot and stuff
Yep.
is, we've got a problem on Highway 76 going into White House with all the construction of homes. There's a very dangerous intersection up there. We have talked to T-Dot. The county commissioners up there have talked to T-Dot. I have been in front of T-Dot. Kerry Roberts has been in front of T-Dot. To get a light up there, caution light, would take 5 to 7 years from right now.
That's
and we've been
insane.
trying to get this light, and we still get the same answer. And I get so upset with T-Dot because they're so slow. But then I think about there's 95 counties, no telling how many bridges, how many ditches, how many interstate, how many roads. And I'm just be honest with you, they're underfunded. They really are. They are not keeping up the growth, and it's not necessarily whose fault it is. I don't know. But it costs so much to maintain. Well, look at Springfield, all the potholes down there at Moore Boulevard right now. They've worked on some of them. You are constantly upgrading. We got a bridge out in Adams that no tractor trailers can go over, and I'm gonna say maybe 20 years before that bridge ever gets fixed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What's the timeline on getting another lane on 24? Won't be in my lifetime.
Wow.
I don't think it will.
Wow.
Yeah, because south of Nashville, TDOT is so much about safety and fatalities, and that's what they go by. Whoever has the most fatalities and wrecks, pedestrians getting hit by cars, that's where the money's going to go. Yeah.
Interesting. And, I mean, we talked a little bit. Senator Roberts was in here yesterday, and we talked a little bit about that. And what's going on with TDOT. So it's a complicated thing, y'all, but you got to plan. That's what got us going down that rabbit hole. Talking about how that you got to plan the cities with having 10 different cities in Robeson County and trying to get them all on the same page. It's a difficult thing.
It is difficult. We got more cities than anybody in the state.
Yeah.
And then we started out with school buses. And what put all the safety features on school buses was fatalities.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
On things like that.
So what happened at the meeting?
Well, we had 22 and 2. Had 22 present, 2 absent. My 2 absent was Commissioner Bobby Couts. His wife was admitted to the hospital yesterday with COVID and pneumonia.
Oh, bless.
And then my second one was Jeff DeLong. Jeff's from Greenbrier. He's an alderman down there. And one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's a veteran.
Yep.
And in fact, some of his veteran stuff, he can still fit in his uniform.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but he's a real nice guy. But he's having some arteries getting clogged in his neck problem.
Oh.
And he's had some health problems. He's had cancer, and he's beat it. I mean, the guy's just great to be around. And a very good county commissioner.
I've met him before.
So
He's a
those
good
are my
guy.
2 absent, and the reason I brought their names up is to tell them we're thinking about them.
And to pray for him. You know, absolutely. That's what we do.
So anyway, I'm going to get down to the communications. Lee White, commissioner, done our invocation last night and done a great job. But on communications, we had Lori Patterson from UT Extension Office. If you notice right there at the courthouse, right across from the corner is a UT Extension Office. And anytime you need some advice on bugs eating your flowers or whatever, I mean, all the way up to the big farmers, they've got the stuff that you need to talk to them about. They've got the knowledge and research. Plus, they got programs and grants that can help you out. That 4-H starts in there too.
they do so much with 4-H.
They sure do. It's the office is so important. And now, the reason they have an office, the state requires every county to furnish the UT Extension a office building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, that's part of your requirements.
Okay.
And she has a board that's consisted of commissioners and farmers in the area.
Okay.
And they meet. But she spoke last night telling the county what all they do, which is a lot more. If you go in there, you'll see how much you do. They got brochures in there for anything. If you want to get into bees, They got brochures in there.
So who came in and spoke?
Lori Patterson. Yeah.
Because now Elizabeth Graves Fletcher is running the 4-H there now.
Yeah.
So you know Elizabeth.
She took
yes.
Miss Finley's place.
Yes.
Yeah, which did a great job for
I need to
years.
get her in. We haven't talked to her in a while.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot going on in that little office over
oh,
there.
it is very busy. And so you've had that going on. What else did you have going on?
All right. I had Chad Gregory get up and speak. Chad just got appointed to 911 board. And Chad is a fire chief for North Robeson County. And he is one of the most knowledgeable men. He's on the fire board, but he works hard there too. But he is, when it comes to radios and radio systems, he can use words that we don't know what he's talking about. And when we're doing our 911 deal right now with Motorola and all the towers and the states involved, he can make that talk tell us where we're at. And last night I want him to do a sort of recap of what we've done and where we're going. And he thinks by June we'll be in it. In fact, the reason it's going to take to June is we got to get the leaves back on the trees to see what kind of reception our towers are going to get.
Of course. Yeah. People don't realize how that affects it. And I mean, because I used, scanners and things like that when I was doing traffic, I would have to get it programmed at the radio room up in Nashville. And I had scanners that would listen, and the coverage was definitely different whenever the leaves were on the trees.
See, all these towers we're making them bigger, and we're getting more pings. And a ping is when you call 911. That means your call went in, and the system we got now, we've run out of pings. So it's and then we've got some dead spots. We really do, down in Smiley Hollow and places like that. So he was giving us an update on that, and Chad is doing this without being paid county time.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we need to compensate him some way, because this is
a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. He's took a lot of time in it and done us a great job. So we brought him up, and I appreciate Chad for everything he's done, and he does a great job with his fire department too.
And Fair Board. I hear from Fair Board.
Yeah, we gave the fire departments a big jump, which they needed. We had been a long time not giving them extra money. And a lot of them have hired people now to work during the day, where before they depended on volunteers. These young people, if you're interested in getting into fire service, EMS, being a volunteer fireman will teach you a whole lot. You'll go to car wrecks. You'll go to houses where people are having maybe heart attacks and problems with their health. You'll learn a whole lot before you get into your future job. And that's where a lot of them start at.
Do you know what the age is on a volunteer like that?
It's probably 18, I guess.
I have a student that is going to be
It may be younger
EMS,
to
and he's driving. So I wonder if he could do any volunteer work like that. I don't know that he has time, but because he's doing some other work, but I hadn't even thought to give him that recommendation.
Well, my son started out as a volunteer at Adams, and now he's at Springfield Fire Department.
Okay.
And I knew from a long time ago that that's what he wanted to do.
Okay. Paul Rainey, you might know when the volunteers can start. So if somebody knows what age you have to be a volunteer fireman, that would be helpful. So throw that up on comments if you know that.
Chief Jackson told me something last night. Your ISO rating for your insurance is based on your fire services and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the areas in Robeson County, their ISO went up. And it's because that insurance company expects at least 5 people to report to a fire. And the truck won't even hold down unless they all cram in there. So, that's something to know. The more volunteers, the less your ICO will be. And, and response time means a lot. And it's also probably based on property values.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Everything else is. That's the way the world turns. And the last thing I had on my communication from the mayor was early voting. Today's the last day.
Today's the last day.
Yeah, and I want to commend. We were during early voting. We have parking problems, we've asked department heads to tell employees to please not park in that first parking lot that you pull in, to leave that to the people of Robeson County, where they can get in and vote and get out. And they have done a great job. We opened up the parking lot across the road yesterday, the new one, which is going to hold 100 cars. So we're building toward the future. And I just want to tell all the employees that had to park further away, we appreciate the help that they did. And today is the last day of early voting. And, it's about $60,000 an election now when you do early voting.
Well, and you figure the election itself is a week from today, and it is Super Tuesday.
Super Tuesday.
And,
March the what?
Just say that again.
What March the what? 5th?
Oh, the date.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look at my calendar.
My birthday's the 8th.
Oh my goodness, happy birthday. Coming up quick then. But yes, it is March the 5th is Super Tuesday. March the 5th is Super Tuesday. And my students go, "What does that mean, Ms. Vivio?" And I said, "Well, we always call it Super Tuesday when we're in a presidential primary, and odds are that on the other side of the primary on Tuesday, we're going to know who our candidates are going to be for the presidential election."
Yeah, Super Tuesday covers about 5 states, don't it?
More than that, I think.
Everybody else has a single one, and then all of a sudden you got Super Tuesday.
I forget, but I think it's more than 5. But I know there's a lot of states that will be reporting. And Paul Rainey is saying to be a volunteer firefighter, you have to be 18.
18.
So, but yeah, go ahead, Mayor Vogel.
And see, if these people that are volunteers, if you do it, the county would take off on your license plates. Now,
really?
Now, don't just go say you're going to be a volunteer when you think you're going to get a break. You've got to answer 60 to 65% of the calls. I think is what our guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't get a break on you and get a fire tag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can get it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. But I figured you had to be 18 as well. So, but it's
Rainey,
something. It's something while they're trying to. Like what my student, he's going to be going into the EMS training right out of high school. And so while he's going through his training, he could be a volunteer.
Yeah.
And then get that experience. So that would be helpful.
The first responders generally is your volunteer fire departments.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they'll be there when the ambulance gets there and help. Sometimes they got to have help. In EMS, it's a very injury prone job.
Yeah.
So getting people up off the floor, and if you've ever tried to pick somebody off the floor that maybe is unconscious, you're dealing with dead weight there. That just,
oh yeah,
I mean, there's nobody to help you, and we have a lot of injuries in EMS, but we have bought these stretchers that will go all the way down to the floor to save people's backs, and hey, it's an interesting field.
It really is, and
maybe not for everybody, but it's an interesting field.
I want to kind of circle back around to the question you said about Super Tuesday. How many states? 15 states in one territory will vote on Tuesday. That's why it's called Super Tuesday, because typically, again, things are decided as far as what your primary candidates are going to be. Who is going to be the key? Yep.
I learned something because I never really thought.
It's a bunch.
Yeah,
but
we're jumping around like a squirrel.
I know. Hang on, y'all. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're a roller coaster going up and down. It's talking about Super Tuesday and then getting back to EMS and everything, but it's all tied together. And I wanted to say that when I'm thanking people for having to walk because of early voting, I think about these people in these countries that will stand in line all day long to vote.
And the voter turnout, what we'll have for when it's all said and done after Tuesday next week, I'm sorry, it will be pitiful.
It will.
And that's
a
shame. And you've got to remember too that you've got school board members and things like that on the ballot that are being primaried. So you got to get out and support your candidates, guys, if you want to be a part of that. Don't get in on the primary thing. Don't get in on the. I know I know how you feel about it, Mayor.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see so much problem up toward the big house, so way over there.
Yeah.
And I think let's let them fight that battles, and we'll do what's on the county level.
Okay, what else you got for us, Mayor?
Early voting's over. Of course, we did our reports, and I wanted to share something with the people on the radio. I'm glad we got the screen here. This here's the EMA report. That's just EMA alone, which that's Chance Holmes and them. We had our meeting with EMS committee yesterday.
And what is EMA?
EMA is Emergency Management Agency.
Yes.
Yeah, it's when you had the tornado, that's who FEMA and TEMA work with.
Right.
Yeah, and yesterday during our meeting, my two Chance Holmes and Blake Pierce wasn't at the meeting because if you've seen on the news last night, was it a 13 or 15-year-old boy with autism was lost, and they was out looking for him. Been lost all day yesterday. Now, I hope they found him during the night. But as of, to my knowledge, as of dark, they hadn't found the boy yet. Yeah.
If you have an update on that, we'd love to hear it too.
And then I'm going to give a heads up to if y'all y'all, my wife's finna get on me about y'all. If you listen to Smokey Barnes, there was a car accident last week where the lady had slid off the interstate, and her phone done the 911 call. Well, a lot of times those are, I don't know, I ain't going to say that didn't happen, but it may be a bad ring or something when it gets to 911, and there's no wreck. Well, they went to 65, almost to the Kentucky line, and could not find a wreck, could not find it. And then Blake Pierce parked his truck and just started walking. And then he seen a hole in a fence way down the hill. And he went down there with his flashlight and found this woman down in a car screaming.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, she was not visible from anywhere, you know. And that's what he did. That's what EMA does. And I want to give a shout out to them. And in this report here, it's like right here, motor vehicle accidents last month was 17, commercial vehicle crashes was 2, structural fires 11. Here's had to go out on an animal warrant, and severe weather events 2 or 3. Here's something very neat: aircraft incident 2.
Really?
One of them was the helicopter at Greenbrier.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Fort Campbell helicopter
landed. That had to land.
Had to land. The second one was they had to clear a spot on the interstate for an airplane to land. Yeah, a small airplane. They had to take care of that.
I remember covering those things in traffic a couple of different times. We had a military, it was one of those that was kind of a secret vehicle. It was an aircraft that landed that was crazy awesome. I mean, you know, there was pictures that got out because it was, you know, so unexpected, but it was something that was a very unusual air vehicle that landed on the interstate. And we've had to clear paths on the interstates before for vehicles, for planes landing. I mean, it's something that does happen from time to time. So that's fascinating.
I asked last night at the meeting, here's 3 illegal burns. And I'm thinking these are people that are burning when they're not supposed to because it's not the right time of year. 2 of these were where people was burning insulation off of copper wires. And he put out that black smoke, you know.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you do black smoke, somebody's going to call on you.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the life we live in. So watch stuff like that. And I don't know when the burn ban will be off because of green, but
what happens when somebody, is there like fines associated with that, I guess?
There can be.
So I didn't know.
A lot of people just do it and don't understand what they're doing.
I don't think they even think about it.
Yeah.
You know, they throw something on a burn pile if they're out in the country, and the next thing they're like, oops.
Out in the country, next thing you know.
Well, and they just don't think about it.
Yeah, burning tires or whatever.
Well, yeah, I think, you know, let's just take a break real quick. I've got a couple of breaks we need to take. We're talking with the mayor. Mayor Billy Vogel is in the house, and we appreciate him coming in and talking with us every month after the commissioners meeting. And as we continue on, if you have any questions for him, just throw them up in comments, and we'll get those to him. But we do want to take a minute and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. You know who we're talking about. Great friends of this program. Now they're, and did I say Garden Gate team? That just rolls off the tongue. I said it for so many years. They have a new name. Same great exit team. It's Exit Prime Realty. Exit Prime Realty, Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. If you want to talk to somebody about real estate, whether it's buying or selling, whatever side of the table you are on, you are going to get great help from Barry and Rebecca. They are cross-Planians. They've been there for, like 28 plus years. And, you know, we were talking about Barry a moment ago. They've got such a diverse background. He came out of the marketing background. He was a media marketing vice president for 17 plus years in Nashville, and then left that and went full-time with real estate. He used to keep bees. I mean, he's got just a diverse background. There was somebody came in, they were looking for some property, a building that they wanted to buy that they could do audio and video production in. And I told him, I said, you've got to go talk to Barry because he's the guy. He's the one that can point you in exactly the right direction when it comes to that and not waste your time. And Rebecca has been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. The way it works, they took the 2 offices, her office in White House. She's an agent there. Barry is the broker here in Springfield, has an office on the square. They took those 2 offices and combined them to bring you a new name, same great exit team, Exit Prime Realty. You want to connect with them? Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. And please, always, when you talk to them, let them know that U-Turn sent you. And as we continue on talking with Mayor Billy Vogel, he is in the
One street over there's a life I could have known. Could have kept me from the
interesting things to report. Not too much content that you said. It was a long meeting, but y'all,
It was a long
y'all
meeting.
just talked like we've been
but,
doing, just chit chatting.
February is a slow month. I don't care if you're in real estate.
Right.
Real estate's slow. I don't know about the car sales or whatever, but it's a slow month, and it's also. But we're cranking up. We're already looking at the budget.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're looking at the budget and where we're at. Every week, every month, we have a report comes out from department heads that come out of the finance office to show us where they're at on their budget. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 months to go to the end of the budget, and we want to be sure that they've got enough to last them till their end of their budget year.
Right.
Some of them are running great, and some, when you're dealing with problems with the public, sometimes you don't have enough. I know the jail budget is always watched very close. EMS budget, when you're looking at the price of an ambulance and stuff, and what an ambulance costs nowadays, and what it costs to put a crew on that ambulance 24 hours, is very expensive. Very expensive. We're always looking at our health care, and just anything we can to try to keep these expenses down. Yeah. So it's a struggle when you cannot put your finger on what gas is going to be tomorrow.
Well, that's just it. You can't. It's hard to set a budget when you have no idea where we're going.
It's out of some of it's out of our control.
Yeah.
It's out of control. Tires on the ambulances is I can't believe what high tires have gone up on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's astronomical, and then when you do projects, we're constantly working with our ADA for the county to deal with citizens that are disabled, and it's an ongoing project. Security. We are putting officers now in the office building, and it's not cheap to put a officer in that building, but we just got a lot of citizens that go in mad and they come out. They talk bad, and we got to have security. The ladies in there do a great job, and all of them's got a button, folks. I'm gonna tell you, they got a button. And if you go in there and act hostile, they're gonna push that button. But a lot of it's just the society we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't be too careful, and got to protect them. And I just I appreciate all the work y'all do. I know it's a lot.
Well, I was talking to the sheriff the other day. We're looking at another courtroom because we're in with Montgomery County on our judges, and Montgomery County, really is getting big enough. They don't need to be in with us, but we're getting another judge one day a week. But we got to have a courtroom just for that. And the sheriff is wanting it inside of a building that he's already in, and because of security, he says I'm protecting 2 courthouses now and 21 schools.
Oh wow.
He said, "There's no way I can go to a third building and do security. It's if you did it, it'd be very expensive. So we're trying to get everybody to stay under the 2 roofs, and one day hopefully we can get everybody under one roof for the court systems. But right now the schools is in front of them, because I'm hearing 2 possible schools coming up, and financially I don't know if Robertson County can borrow enough for 2 schools.
Well, and you figure people don't realize that our SROs, our student resource officers, they work for the sheriff's office.
Yes.
And people just don't realize that, I think, a lot of times. They think that they're somehow or another hired by the schools. No. That's the sheriff's responsibility.
They're not hired by the schools, and they're not what you call contract
right.
law enforcement.
Right.
They do work for the sheriff's department.
That's just it. So it's a lot, but a lot going on. What else you got for us, Mayor?
All right, we're fixing to move into zoning. Now, the state tells us that we had to have we've always had a public comment on zoning. But now, after I get the minutes read, I asked, is there anybody that would love to speak on something that's on the agenda? It has to be on the agenda. Now, you've got an option to call my office or get on our website and say you want to speak about something on the agenda. Last night we didn't have anybody that wanted to speak, but when you come into the county commission, you will see this on a podium where you sign your name and what you want to talk about.
Right.
So, but all this right here that I'm holding up was over a zoning issue. So that's where we went. We kind of went down.
This is what you sign into if you go in. There you go.
And, of course, we had the head girls is still listening. We had 2 zoning issues on Burgess Sky Road last night. One of them, I think, had to do with some of the maybe the property that their dad owned on Burgess Gyre.
Okay.
But we had a lengthy discussion on whether it went from Ag 2 to R80, which R80, folks, is the smallest, the largest tract of land you can have right under Ag 2 to build a house on.
Say that again.
Okay. If you go R20, that lot is not but 20,000 square feet. R80 is a 80,000 square foot lot,
Okay.
which is way over an acre. So we had Ag 2 to R80. There were several people that live in that area that was worried about maybe traffic because it is a farming community, worried about the road conditions, worried about water runoff. These are all concerns we hear every month from citizens. And then, of course, the people that wanted to track it up they own the land. They've had it for years, and it's kind of like, you're not going to tell me what I can do with my land. But then again, we do. Zoning is there to protect you, folks. It's not there to hurt you. It's not going to let somebody put a salvage yard next to your house. That's what we're there for. First, they go to the zoning board, and the zoning board be sure that they have crossed every T and dotted every I. And they spend a lot of money to get to that point with surveys and stuff. Now, after it goes to the zoning board and they approve it, which all these were approved 7-0, it goes to the county commission. The county commission will vote based on public input, but they know all they're doing is voting to send this on to the soil scientists. We got a county engineer. If you say you're going to put 15 houses there and you draw it up on a plat, he's going to look at that plat. If he sees where water's going to be running down somebody's yard, he's not going to approve that house on that one lot. He's not going to do it.
Right.
So, see, it's still some more hoops to jump through.
Right.
And I wish the public would understand that we're not going to let somebody do something. In the old days, yeah, they might build a house in a ditch, but that's not Robinson County anymore. We've got rules and regulations that we're going to go by. I don't need people calling me after they moved in a new house and telling me there's water running down the road.
It's so fascinating. When we bought the property at the end of Lawrence Lane, there was a house in the floodplain.
Yeah.
When we bought that property. And I mean, it was kind of a shack of a house, but it was a house somebody had lived in. It was definitely a house. And there's no way it would had to have gone underwater because it was in the floodplain. And I thought, who in the world thought to build a house there? It wasn't, a great house, but it was a house. And they were using it as a shed whenever we took the property over. But when we bought the property, I was fascinated that there was a house that was obviously something somebody had lived in. And, it had to have, that area where I live, it goes into water all the time. So I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah, if somebody does a development, it comes to us or it goes to the city, but we're talking about out in the county. Our engineer looks at that, and then whoever's building that development has got to do the roads to our standard before we take it over.
Absolutely.
They can't go in there and say, here's a gravel road, No, you're going to pave it and you're going to fix it where it will not just be gone in a year or two. And we have our county highway department will go out there and inspect phases of that road.
Make sure, because people will try to get away with stuff.
Yeah,
You gotta keep an eye on it.
That's the reason we got engineer. If we're paying for a foot of concrete for a school foundation, we don't want 6 inches. We want the foot.
You better believe it.
If you don't have somebody there watching, sometimes you might get 6 inches.
Hey, let me go ahead and do my last
All
break
right.
here, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up with Mayor Billy Vogel talking about our commissioners' meeting last night, covering a lot of stuff, and we're just solving the world's problems too on the way. I want to talk about my friends talking about Mr. Perry's music, Perry Myers. I've taken music lessons from him off and on, and actually need a lesson right now, Perry. I got to get in touch with him. I need some help on some stuff I'm trying to do with my mandolin, but right now their focus are their summer camps. Believe it or not, I know still at the end of February, their camps are already filling up. People are seeing what a cool thing it is to put your kids in with the band. If you want to have them come in and learn what it means to play music with somebody, that's been my biggest issue. I love playing music. I love being involved in music. I've never really had anybody to play with. And so it's made me lose interest. I'll get, all fired up about picking up a new instrument, and then I got nothing to do with it. So I just kind of set it aside. This keeps your kids interested. If you really want to introduce your kids to music, talk to them about going to band camp. rock band camp this summer. They've got a beginning camp that's going to be June 14th through or June 10th through the 14th. Songwriters camp, that's cool too, the 10th through the 14th. They've got an advanced camp for July 8th through the 12th. Sound engineering recording camp, how cool is that? July 15th through the 19th. All kinds of fun, cool stuff going on. The camps are $150 per week. You got to have a $50 deposit to hold your slot, but it's filling up, guys. Filling up fast. So just get in touch with them. If you want to find out more, you can reach out to Mr. Perry, MrPerry'sSpringfield.com, MrPerry'sSpringfield.com. If you want private lessons, he says, you can try them for free if you want to come in and, kind of see if Mr. Perry's a good fit for your kiddos. But just reach out to them immediately if you want to get in on some of these summer camps, because they're going to be, the slots are going to be gone. They've got a max of 20 per camp. And you can go to their Facebook page and kind of get the rundown on what I just mentioned to you. But it's MrPerry'sSpringfield.com, MrPerry'sSpringfield.com if you want to get in one of the camps, if you want some private lessons. If you need some gear, give him a call. He plays everything. He's good at all of it. He's a fun guy to just get to know if you want to introduce your kiddos or yourself into the gift of music in your life. Go and talk to him today. And please, always, we tell you, always let our sponsors know that their ad dollars are
One street over there's a life I could have known. Would have kept me from one I had.
mayor. Yes, you may have a city mayor, because we have 10 little cities inside our Robertson County. He's your county mayor.
I get a lot of calls about what's going on in the city or something, and we'll ask you where you live, but still we're going to try to help you out with the problem. Whether it's, some people call about maybe a fence at the Legacy. They wasn't supposed to be there or something.
Right.
I get calls about golf balls in the yard, and people live on the Legacy. And I get calls about dogs in their yard, at different cities. But my animal control, folks, if you want to be a volunteer, they take volunteers out there. I promise you, the dogs out there will break your heart. They're looking for a home. They picked up one yesterday. They showed me the pictures of him. He had been tied to a tree, and he was literally starving to death. And we try to. We just don't just carry them straight and destroy the dog.
No, you try to save them if you
We
can.
try to save them and give them to the rescue squad. Rescue into the rescue program. We had one that was shot and had to amputate a leg, but somebody in Virginia saw a picture of that dog, and the dog is in Virginia now.
Wow. And I went by the new facility.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it. Oh, it's awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
And your bride is saying, your wife is messaging that the young man, the autistic young man, has not been found.
He has not been found.
Yeah, and it's some.
Is my wife listening?
Yeah.
Ask her if I've used correct English yet this morning.
How's he doing?
Yeah. Yeah. She says,
How's he doing?
She reminds me of the old movie about Dizzy Dean. He was a baseball player, and he got to announcing after he retired. And they took him off the air because the teachers in the city said that his grammar was hurting kids.
She's responding to you. Yeah. I just said, I want to know your reason why. She says no.
Said that the way he talked was hurting kids, and all the kids went on strike.
Oh, that's
finally got old Dizzy back into the announcing booth.
That's part of your charm, Mayor Vogel. I love you.
Yeah.
I think it's it's awesome.
Well, you can't take the country. You can't take the
time.
country out of me.
Nope,
but
that's just it.
Hey, we got into resolutions last night. We've got about 8 minutes here. Didn't have but 3 resolutions. Commissioner Faye Stubblefield presented these resolutions. One was from the Highway Department. Citizens, we have started putting. When you have a fund balance, it's not that we've got a savings account, but then you've got to have a fund balance too. That's what your tax rate is based on and your borrowing power. Mm-hmm. The Highway Department is buying 2 dump trucks. We have started putting money into an account where we don't borrow the money to buy these dump trucks. He's getting 2 dump trucks with dual axles, which most times you see a county truck, it's just got a single axle. The dual axles will haul more. You're not making as many trips up and down the road. It don't take 2 drivers to drive 2 trucks when this one truck will do the job.
Sure.
It's like the farmers going to the tractor trailers with their grain. It's about economics, and he's getting 2 that will come out of an account that he has set up, that he is putting money in every year. Mm-hmm. And then when he needs 2 more in 6 years, maybe there's enough in that account to buy 2 more because he's putting a little at a time. Mm-hmm. We're doing that at EMS, and we've been doing it at solid waste because the next resolution is we're looking at a truck. We'll go in front of finance Monday down at solid waste. The truck that goes to convenience centers and loads up those big compactors and carries them to the solid waste and dump them. The truck we got is got to be a problem. It's constantly a liability, costing money, stays tore up. It's got a lot of miles on it, and we're going to have another truck. But there's enough money in that fund to pay for that truck without us going to the taxpayers. It's just the way business needs to be done. We run that place like a business. So that was in there. And then also we had a resolution coming out of the Sheriff's Department. I know I'm repeating myself, but you have no idea what it costs to secure these buildings. We bought 3 locks for the courthouse that I'm in, the old courthouse. One had got hit by lightning. Insurance is going to take care of it. Lightning running. These are where you take these cards and use them.
It's the digital stuff.
And we got to have.
Like we get into the buildings.
Yeah,
Schools
right.
And stuff. Yeah.
Well, one door where the prisoners come to court, that had to be changed. And, of course, very few people get them cards. Mm-hmm. Them locks are very expensive, very expensive. They're tied into our TV system like you're watching here, where a deputy sits there and watches constantly what's going on. All that's tied in together. That stuff's expensive. I think those 3 locks was about $13,000.
Oh, yeah, they're not cheap at all.
Yeah, so we had to make a amendment. We had to amend the sheriff's budget to move $13,000 maybe out of some other line item into this line to take care of those locks. And the last thing, of course, was what we're talking about, buying, purchasing policies and procedures. We had a $2,500 limit. The department had to come to finance. And folks, the price of things now, $2,500 is nothing. Mm-hmm. We was overloading the finance office with purchase orders. Anything the schools ordered, $2,500 ain't going to get it. Yeah. It's just not going to get it. So we moved that to $5,000, where the schools and them can go do their purchases and not have to come to finance committee.
Well, pre-approval. It's
right.
not that it doesn't have to be, it
don't think
has to
it
go
don't
through the checks and balances on the backside of it, but you don't have to get the pre-approval.
Thank you for saying that. Don't think it don't get looked at,
absolutely.
Because the state auditor will come in and pull every receipt you got, and we got to prove that's where it went. And knock on wood, Robs County has been, man, we're audit free.
Yeah.
We don't have any findings, and that's not the work of the mayor. That's the work of department heads and the employees.
We've got some great folks.
Yeah, got some good folks. So we had to raise that up just for the simple fact that we didn't need the schools knocking on the door every 5 minutes because they spent $2,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So didn't have any old business, no new business. And of course, at the end of every meeting, we do our notaries and probably have 25 notaries every month that are renewing theirs or something. If you want to be a notary, go to Angie Groves' office, and she can fix you up. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why you'd want to be one, but if you want to be one, they'll fix you up.
It's a lot of responsibility. When you sign your name, you're verifying that what's going on, you're saying yes and saying that, yes, this is true. And I had somebody one time wanted me to be a notary and for them, and I was like, I don't know you guys well enough to be your notary, and it just wanted me to he wanted to tell me that, yes, that's who this was. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not going to notarize if that's who they are when you just tell me they are. I need to know them. And so anyway, but that's a responsibility.
There's a lot of responsibility, but if you work for an attorney or a hospital,
yes, of course.
or anywhere that they need notaries, banks is something that's got. And hey, the notary there is to protect you, just like zoning is.
Yes.
I mean, ain't everybody honest and got a pretty smile?
There we go.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mayor?
3 to 8. No, Mayor's.
Look at us.
Guess what the mayor gets to? The mayor's taking his cap off. Guess what the mayor gets to do today?
What do you get to do today?
I tell Jordan Osmond, Jordan, what we get to do today? She says, work for Robinson County.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. That's another one I got to call and get on in here. Now, tomorrow, we have got Megan and Althea coming in from Recovery Court. And they asked me to be on the Recovery Court board, and I am so honored. I'm just so honored to be a part of that group. And So we were at the meeting. We had a board meeting last week, and they're like, "We need some time," because they've got several things that they want to unpack.
They sure
They've
do.
got the Recovery Fest and
Well-
different things like that, and then of course the inpatient. Where they've got the counseling office that they're going to be opening up.
Yep. And I'm not going to say where it's at because I don't know whether I'm supposed to,
Well,
but
we'll let them unpack all
yeah.
that tomorrow.
In fact,
tell you
they've got an
everything
appointment
that-
with me at 8:30. They're on with you at 7.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're going to be in my office because they're going to come right out of here into my office.
Yep.
Because I have turned over a lot of the opioid lawsuit money over to them.
Yeah.
Listen, folks, if you don't know how important this is, the rehab program, to get in rehab in Robertson County right now, you got to go through the jail. Come out of the jail.
Yeah.
This here is where people can keep their job, keep their families, and do rehab at night. And it's very important to this county that we get this drug problem beat.
Yep. And they're going to be in here tomorrow to discuss all that and kind of unpack it. Normally they come in right before we have recovery court graduation. They'll do that as well. This is extra. And they said, we need some time to come in and unpack for the county what's going on. So that's happening tomorrow. Can't wait to have it. They're just dear friends of mine and just love them. They just, man, you talk about work that's just so good and so hard.
They're so energetic.
Yeah, I know.
Doing something that
I know.
I mean, they called me one day, wanted me to meet them at where they're going to have their rehabs done, and I mean, it's just unreal. And we need somebody to mow the yard and all this, you know. So, folks, there's volunteer stuff you can do to help these nonprofits out. Our church has just got through doing one for an open house, and the month of March we're going to concentrate on the Isaiah House.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful program. Oh, listen, they're building a Habitat for Humanity house right next to the Isaiah House. And Tiffany put up on her social media yesterday, she has a slot for maybe 10 more volunteers. If you have never been involved in Habitat for Humanity, and I've had just barely touched, I mean, I've been involved through the media side of it. In my years in radio, I had a couple of the Egyptian families that I worked with that built habitat houses. It's an amazing program. We got one right here in Robertson County, right here in Springfield, right next to the Isaiah 117 house they're going to be building Saturday. So if you want to be a volunteer for that, you need to reach out to Tiffany right now because they'll fill up with volunteers and you won't get to do it. And I mean, you get to do it. You are so blessed when you get to do stuff like this, guys. But this is this weekend. If you're a minor, if you're under 18, you have to have an adult with you. I know there's a couple of my students that want to do it, but they can't get a parent to, calendar freed up. If you want to be a part of that, you need to get in touch with Tiffany. I bet by tomorrow when she comes in from United Way, it'll be full. So that's this Saturday, guys, if you want to be a part of that. Anything else?
That's it for me.
We're done and look forward to hearing from Recovery Court tomorrow. Appreciate hearing from all of you guys today. And we just want to remind you just to keep listening. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day.